Welcome to Sarah Wood's Tale, where stories comes alive. Please do well to hit that subscription button and turn on your notification bell for subsequent stories. The golden sun dipped low over the Masai Mara, painting the savannah in hues of orange and pink. Endless plains stretched out, dotted with acacia trees and grazing zebras. The air buzzed with the hum of insects and distant roars of lions. Emily Carter, a 28-year-old wildlife photographer with bright green eyes and a contagious laugh, adjusted her camera lens, her heart racing with excitement. She crouched in the open jeep, her curly brown hair tied back, capturing a cheetah sprinting after a gazelle. Beside her, James Harper, her boyfriend of 2 years, leaned against the jeep's rail, his handsome face lit with a proud smile. At 30, James, an architect with a knack for charm, had joined her on this trip to support her passion, though he often teased her for loving her camera more than him. "Emily, you're gonna miss the shot if you keep fussing with that thing," James said, his voice playful. He brushed a strand of hair from her face, his blue eyes twinkling. She grinned, not looking up from her viewfinder. "Patience, James. This cheetah's about to make my portfolio legendary. You'll thank me when we're famous." He chuckled, shaking his head. "Famous, huh? I'm just here for the ride, babe." Their driver, a local guide named Joseph, steered the jeep carefully, his weathered hands steady on the wheel. "Storm's coming, Miss Emily," he warned, glancing at the darkening sky. "We should head back soon." Emily nodded but kept shooting, determined to get the perfect frame. "Just a few more minutes, Joseph. This light is magic." James sighed, leaning closer. "You're impossible, you know that. But I love it." He kissed her cheek, and she felt a warmth that rivaled the Mara's sunset. The moment felt perfect, her career soaring, her love life solid, and the wild beauty of Africa around her. Emily had dreamed of this since she was a kid in London, sketching lions in her notebook. Now, living in Nairobi and chasing stories through her lens, she felt unstoppable. But the sky had other plans. Dark clouds rolled in faster than Joseph expected, and a rumble of thunder shook the air. Raindrops splattered the jeep, and the wind whipped Emily's hair. She lowered her camera, frowning. "Okay, maybe you're right, Joseph. Let's go." Joseph gunned the engine, but the dirt track had turned to mud. The jeep lurched, tires spinning. Emily grabbed the rail, her heart pounding. "Hold on," Joseph shouted as the jeep skidded toward a ditch. Time slowed. Emily saw James's wide eyes, his hand reaching for her. Then, a sickening crunch. The jeep flipped, tumbling into the ditch. Emily's world spun, metal groaned, glass shattered, and pain exploded in her back. She screamed, then everything went black. When Emily woke, she was in a Nairobi hospital, the sterile smell of antiseptic stinging her nose. Her body felt heavy, wrong. She blinked at the white ceiling, her head fuzzy. A sharp pain radiated from her spine, and she tried to move her legs. Nothing happened. Panic surged. "James," she croaked, her voice weak. James sat beside her bed, his face pale, his dark hair messy. He looked like he hadn't slept. "I'm here, Em," he said, taking her hand. His grip was tight, but his eyes darted away, avoiding hers. What happened?" she asked, her throat dry. He swallowed hard. "The jeep, it rolled. Joseph's okay, just bruises. But you," his voice cracked. "Your spine's hurt. The doctors, they're doing tests." Emily's chest tightened. "My legs. I can't feel them, James." Tears welled up, and she squeezed his hand. "Tell me I'm gonna be okay." He hesitated, his jaw tight. "The doctors are working on it, Em. You're strong. You'll get through this." But his voice lacked conviction, and a shadow crossed his face. A doctor entered, a kind-faced woman with a clipboard. "Miss Carter, I'm Dr. Njay. You've got a spinal injury. We're still assessing, but there's a chance you may not walk again." The words hit like a punch. Emily's breath caught, and tears spilled down her cheeks. No, that can't be right. I'm a photographer. I need to move, to work." Her voice broke, and she looked at James, desperate for his strength. James's hand slipped from hers. He stood, running a hand through his hair. I need some air," he mumbled, stepping toward the door. James, wait. Emily called, her voice cracking. Don't leave me. He paused, his back to her, then muttered, I'll be back, Em. The door clicked shut behind him. Emily stared at the empty space, her heart splintering. The vibrant woman who'd chased cheetahs in the Mara felt like a ghost. Her dreams of her career, her life with James, seemed to crumble with every beep of the hospital monitor. She closed her eyes, willing the nightmare to end, but the weight in her chest only grew heavier. Emily's world shatters in an instant, from the high of love and ambition to the devastation of loss. James's hesitation plants a seed of doubt, hinting at the betrayal to come, tugging at the reader's heartstrings. The hospital room was a blur of white walls and beeping machines. Emily lay in her bed, staring at the ceiling, her body a stranger to her. 3 weeks had passed since the accident, and the doctor's words echoed in her mind, *paralysis from the waist down star. She'd cried until her eyes burned, but now she felt hollow, like a shell washed up on a shore. Her camera, once an extension of her soul, sat untouched in a bag by the bed. Her dreams of capturing Africa's wild heart seemed as distant as the Mara. James visited daily, but something had shifted. His smiles were forced, his touches brief. He'd talk about his architecture projects or the weather, avoiding her questions about her recovery. Emily clung to his presence, desperate for the man who'd promised to build a life with her. But each day, his eyes grew more distant, like he was already halfway out the door. One morning, Emily woke to find a new face at her bedside, a nurse with warm brown eyes and a gentle smile. I'm Grace Mitchell, she said, adjusting Emily's fore. I'm gonna take care of you, okay? You're tougher than you look, I can tell. Emily managed a weak smile. I don't feel tough. I feel broken. Grace's eyes softened. You're not broken, Emily. You're hurt, and that's different. You'll find your strength. I've seen it in patients before. You've got fire in you. Emily wanted to believe her, but the weight of her useless legs crushed her hope. My boyfriend, James, he's struggling with this. I don't know if he can handle it. Grace's lips tightened, but she kept her tone gentle. Some people take time to adjust. Give him a chance, but don't let his struggle define you. You're the one fighting this battle. That afternoon, James arrived, his shoulders slumped. He sat by her bed, fidgeting with his phone. Emily reached for his hand, desperate to feel connected. James, talk to me. I'm scared. I need you. He sighed, pulling his hand back. I'm trying, Em. It's a lot. I don't know how to fix this. You don't have to fix it, she said, her voice trembling. Just be here. We'll figure it out together. He looked away, his jaw tight. I want to, but I'm not good at this. Hospitals, all this, it's overwhelming. Emily's heart sank. So what? You're just gonna give up on me? No, he snapped, then softened. I need time, okay? I'll be back tomorrow. He stood, kissing her forehead quickly before leaving. Emily stared at the door, tears streaming down her face. Grace, who'd been checking her chart nearby, stepped closer. Hey, don't let him drag you down, she said, sitting on the bed's edge. You're stronger than you know, Emily. I'm not going anywhere, all right? Emily nodded, her throat too tight to speak. Grace's words were a lifeline, but James's absence left a gaping hole. The next morning, Emily woke to an empty room. No James. She waited, her eyes fixed on the door, but hours passed with no sign of him. Grace came in, her face grim. She held a folded note and handed it to Emily. A nurse found this at the front desk. It's from James. Emily's hands shook as she opened it. The words blurred through her tears. *M, I'm sorry. I can't handle this. You deserve someone stronger. I need to go. Take care. James *. The note slipped from her fingers, fluttering to the floor. Emily's chest heaved with sobs. He's gone, she whispered. He just left me. Grace knelt beside her, gripping her hand. Listen to me, Emily. He's weak, not you. You don't need him. You've got fight in you, and I'm gonna help you find it. Emily shook her head, her voice breaking. I loved him, Grace. I thought he loved me. How could he do this? Grace's eyes blazed with quiet fury. Some people run when things get hard. But you're not alone. I'm here, and we're gonna get you through this. You hear me? Emily nodded, tears falling, but Grace's fierce loyalty sparked a tiny flicker of hope. The pain of James's betrayal cut deep, but Grace's presence was a balm, a promise that she wouldn't face this darkness alone. As the hospital machines beeped on, Emily clung to that flicker, not knowing it would one day grow into a flame. The gut-wrenching betrayal of James's abandonment rips at the heart, while Grace's unwavering support offers a glimmer of hope. Emily's despair is raw and relatable, drawing readers into her pain and resilience. The air in Emily Carter's Nairobi apartment felt heavy, stale with the weight of her despair. The once vibrant space, filled with framed wildlife photos and colorful Maasai blankets, now seemed dim, the curtains drawn against the relentless Kenyan sun. Emily, now 28, sat in her wheelchair by the window, staring blankly at the street below. 3 months had passed since the accident in the Masai Mara that stole her ability to walk, and James's abandonment had left a wound that refused to heal. Her camera, once her lifeline, gathered dust on a shelf, a cruel reminder of the life she'd lost. Depression clung to her like a shadow. Mornings blurred into nights, each day a struggle to find a reason to get out of bed. Her once sparkling green eyes were dull, her curly brown hair tangled from neglect. She felt worthless, a broken version of the woman who'd chased cheetahs and dreamed of global galleries. The world moved on outside, but Emily was stuck, trapped in a body that betrayed her and a heart shattered by betrayal. Grace Mitchell, her nurse and now her closest friend, refused to let her drown. At 35, Grace was a force of nature, her warm brown eyes and no-nonsense attitude a beacon in Emily's darkness. She visited daily, bringing food, forcing Emily to eat, and filling the silence with chatter about hospital gossip or Nairobi's bustling markets. But even Grace's cheer couldn't pierce Emily's gloom entirely. One humid afternoon, Grace burst into the apartment, her arms full of grocery bags. "All right, Emily, enough of this cave," she said, setting the bags on the counter. "I'm making you gali and sukuma wiki, and you're gonna help. No excuses." Emily barely glanced up, her voice flat. "I'm not hungry, Grace. Just, leave it." Grace planted her hands on her hips, her eyes narrowing. "Nope. You don't get to give up on me. You're still here, still breathing, and that means something. Now, we'll over here and chop these greens." Emily sighed, knowing resistance was futile. She pushed her wheelchair to the small kitchen, her movements slow. As they worked, Grace's voice softened. "I've got someone I want you to meet, Em. His name's Dr. Michael Bennett. He's a neurologist, specializes in spinal injuries. He's got this experimental therapy, nerve stimulation or something. It's new, but he thinks it could help you." Emily's hands stilled on the knife, her heart clenching. "Help me how? The doctors said I'd never walk again, Grace. It's over." Grace knelt beside her, gripping her hand. "It's not over. Dr. Bennett's different. He's seen cases like yours, and he believes in fighting for progress, even if it's small. Just meet him, okay? For me." Emily's eyes filled with tears. "What if it doesn't work? I can't handle more disappointment, Grace. I'm barely holding on." Grace's voice was fierce but gentle. "You're stronger than you think, Emily Carter. You've survived the worst already. This is just a chance, a tiny spark. Don't you want to try?" Emily looked away, her chest tight. The idea of hope felt dangerous, like a flame that could burn her again. But Grace's unwavering belief chipped at her defenses. "Fine," she whispered. "I'll meet him. But don't expect miracles." Grace grinned, squeezing her hand. "That's my girl. I'll set it up for tomorrow." The next day, Grace wheeled Emily into a Nairobi hospital clinic, where Dr. Michael Bennett waited. At 40, Michael was tall and lean, with kind grey eyes and a calm demeanor that put Emily at ease. His office was cluttered with medical journals and photos of his hikes in the Aberdare Mountains, hinting at a life beyond the white coat. "Miss Carter, it's a pleasure," Michael said, shaking her hand warmly. "Grace speaks highly of you." Emily managed a weak smile. "She's biased. So, what's this therapy you're talking about? Michael leaned forward, his voice steady. It's called neuromodulation therapy. We use electrical pulses to stimulate the nerves in your spine. It's experimental, not a guaranteed fix, but in some cases, it's helped patients regain sensation or even movement. It's a long road, Emily, and it takes commitment. But I think you've got the fight for it. Emily's stomach twisted. And if it fails? I'm tired of empty promises, Dr. Bennett. Michael's eyes met hers, unflinching. I can't promise you'll walk again. But I can promise we'll try everything we've got. Even small gains, like feeling in your legs, could change your life. You're not just a patient to me, Emily. I see someone who's still got a lot to give. His words stirred something in Emily, a faint flicker of possibility. She glanced at Grace, who nodded encouragingly. Okay, Emily said, her voice barely audible. I'll do it. Michael smiled. Good. We'll start next week. You're taking a big step, Emily. Be proud of that. Please don't forget to subscribe to get more interesting stories. As Grace wheeled her out, Emily felt a sliver of hope, fragile but real. The darkness still loomed, but for the first time in months, she glimpsed a way forward, however uncertain. The Nairobi Rehabilitation Center hummed with activity, patients working with therapists, the clatter of weights, and the murmur of encouragement. Emily, now 4 months post-accident, wheeled into the therapy room for her first neuromodulation session. The sterile space, with its exercise equipment and posters of smiling athletes, felt daunting. She wore a loose t-shirt and leggings, her hair pulled back, trying to summon the strength she didn't feel. Grace stood by her side, her presence a steady anchor. Dr. Michael Bennett adjusted the electrodes on Emily's lower back, explaining the process in his calm, reassuring tone. These will send pulses to your nerves. It might feel strange, but it's safe. Ready? Emily nodded, her stomach churning. Let's just get it over with. The machine hummed, and a tingling sensation spread through her legs. It wasn't movement, but it was something, a reminder her body wasn't entirely lost to her. Tears pricked her eyes, and she gripped the armrests of her wheelchair. Grace squeezed her shoulder. You're doing great, Em. This is a start. After the session, Michael suggested Emily join a group therapy class to build strength and connect with others. Reluctantly, she agreed, wheeling into a room where a dozen patients, young and old, worked on exercises or shared stories. There, she noticed a girl, no older than 25, sitting alone, her traditional Maasai beaded necklace striking against her simple dress. Her dark eyes were bright but shadowed, like she carried a weight too heavy for her years. Grace nudged Emily. That's Sarah Thompson. She's Maasai, from a village near Narok. Lost her leg in a car accident last year. She's got big dreams but a tough road. Go talk to her. Emily hesitated. What do I even say? I'm a mess myself. Grace raised an eyebrow. You've got more in common than you think. Just try. Emily wheeled over, her heart pounding. Hi, I'm Emily, she said, her voice soft. Mind if I sit here? Sarah looked up, her face guarded but curious. Sure. I'm Sarah. You new here? Yeah, first day. This place is, a lot. Emily paused, then added, I like your necklace. It's beautiful. Sarah's fingers touched the beads, a small smile breaking through. Thanks. My mother made it. She says it carries our family's strength. Emily nodded, sensing Sarah's pride. That's special. So, what brings you here? Sarah's smile faded. I want to be a teacher, but my village says girls like me, disabled, should just stay home. I came to Nairobi to prove them wrong, but it's hard. People stare, and school's expensive. Emily's heart ached, seeing her own struggle mirrored in Sarah's. I get it. I was a photographer, always running around. Then I had an accident, and now, I don't know who I am anymore. Sarah's eyes softened. But you're here, trying. That's something. I want to be like that, keep fighting. Her words hit Emily hard, stirring a warmth she hadn't felt in months. You're already fighting, Sarah. Maybe we can help each other. Deal? Sarah grinned, her face lighting up. Deal. Over the next weeks, Emily and Sarah grew close, meeting at therapy and sharing stories. Sarah's determination to defy her village's expectations inspired Emily, and she found herself wanting to be a role model for the young Maasai girl. One evening, in her apartment, Emily opened her laptop, staring at the blank screen. Grace, sipping tea on the couch, noticed. "What's on your mind, Em?" "I keep thinking about Sarah," Emily said. "She's got so much fire, but the world's against her. I want to do something, maybe share my story, and hers, to show people we're not invisible." Grace's eyes lit up. "You mean like a blog? That's brilliant. You're a storyteller, Em. Use that gift." Emily hesitated, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. "What if no one cares? I'm just some broken photographer." Grace leaned forward, her voice firm. "You're not broken. You're surviving, and that's powerful. People need to hear it about you, Sarah, all of it. Just start." Taking a deep breath, Emily began typing. She wrote about the accident, her paralysis, and the pain of James's betrayal. She wrote about Sarah's dreams and the barriers she faced. Titled From the Ground Up, the blog was raw, honest, and hopeful. She posted it that night, her heart racing. Please don't forget to subscribe to get more interesting stories. By morning, comments flooded in. Strangers shared their own struggles, praised her courage, and asked about Sarah. A local disability group shared the post, and views climbed into the thousands. Emily stared at the screen, tears streaming down her face. "Grace, people are reading it. They're actually reading it." Grace hugged her tight. "Told you, Em. You're starting something big." With Sarah's permission, Emily added her story to the blog, and their bond deepened. Mentoring Sarah gave Emily a purpose, a reason to fight beyond herself. The blog's traction lit a spark in her soul, hinting at a future where she could inspire others, even from a wheelchair. The Nairobi Rehabilitation Center was alive with movement, patients stretching on mats, therapists offering encouragement, and the rhythmic clank of exercise equipment. Sunlight streamed through large windows, casting a warm glow over the room. Emily Carter, now 5 months past the accident that left her paralyzed from the waist down, wheeled into the therapy room for her second neuromodulation session. At 28, her green eyes held a flicker of determination beneath her lingering grief. Her curly brown hair was tied back, and she wore a simple blue t-shirt, trying to mask the anxiety knotting her stomach. Grace Mitchell, her fierce friend and nurse, walked beside her, her warm brown eyes scanning the room with quiet confidence. Inspired by her progress, Emily agreed to a bold step, a trip to a rural Kenyan village near the Masai Mara, organized by David Powell, a 45-year-old conservationist she'd met through her blog. David, a rugged man with a passion for protecting Kenya's wildlife, had invited Emily and Sarah to join a conservation project, documenting efforts to protect elephants from poaching. Emily hesitated, traveling in a wheelchair was daunting, but Sarah's excitement tipped the scales. "Emily, we have to go," Sarah said during a therapy session, her dark eyes shining. "I've never seen elephants up close, and you can take photos again. It'll be like us taking back our lives." Emily looked at Sarah's eager face, her heart swelling. "Okay, you win. Let's do it. But you're helping me with the camera." Sarah grinned, her Maasai beads glinting. "Deal." The journey to the village was bumpy, the dirt roads winding through rolling hills dotted with acacia trees. Emily, Sarah, and David traveled in a sturdy van, the air thick with dust and the scent of wild grass. Emily's wheelchair was strapped in, her camera bag on her lap, a familiar weight that stirred both excitement and fear. The village, a cluster of mud and thatch homes, welcomed them with curious smiles and children's laughter. Maasai women in bright shukas offered tea, and Emily felt a warmth she'd missed. David led them to a conservation camp where rangers monitored elephant herds. Emily, with Sarah's help, set up her camera, her hands trembling as she framed shots of elephants grazing under a crimson sunset. The click of the shutter was like a heartbeat, reconnecting her to her old self. Sarah watched, her prosthetic leg steady, her face alight with awe. "Emily, these photos are amazing," she said, peering at the camera screen. "You're gonna show the world how beautiful this is." Emily smiled, her voice soft. "And you're gonna show them how strong we are." Right. Sarah nodded, her grin fierce. Right. David, kneeling nearby, looked up from a map. You two are something else, he said, his voice gruff but kind. Emily, these photos could raise real money for the elephants. And your blog, people need to see this. Emily's cheeks warmed. You think so? I want to make a difference. You already are, David said, his eyes steady. Keep telling your story. It's powerful. Back in Nairobi, Emily posted the photos and a blog entry about the trip, weaving in Sarah's journey and the conservation efforts. Titled Rising with the Elephants, it struck a chord. Comments poured in, incredible shots, and you and Sarah are heroes. International wildlife groups shared the post, and a UK-based disability charity reached out, offering support. Views soared into the tens of thousands, and Emily's inbox overflowed with messages from strangers inspired by her courage and Sarah's dream. One evening, Emily and Grace sat in her apartment, scrolling through the blog's analytics. You're going viral, Grace said, her voice awed. People in London, New York, everywhere, they're reading this. Emily shook her head, tears in her eyes. I can't believe it, Grace. It's like I'm finding myself again. And Sarah, she's part of it. Grace hugged her tight. You're not just finding yourself. You're building something bigger. You and Sarah, you're unstoppable. The trip and the blog's success marked a turning point. Emily's small victories, tingles, twitches, and a renewed passion for photography blended with her bond with Sarah, giving her a purpose that felt boundless. The world was watching, and for the first time, Emily felt ready to rise. The salty breeze of Mombasa's coastline swept through the open windows of the rehabilitation center, carrying the scent of the Indian Ocean. Palm trees swayed outside, and the distant crash of waves mingled with the hum of therapy equipment. Emily Carter, now 29, had been in therapy for nearly a year since her accident in the Masai Mara. Her wheelchair, once a symbol of defeat, now felt like a tool for progress. Her green eyes sparkled with cautious hope, and her curly brown hair was neatly braided, a sign of her growing self-care. The neuromodulation therapy had brought tingles and twitches to her legs, but today, in this sunlit room, she aimed for a miracle. Dr. Michael Bennett, her neurologist, stood by a therapy table, his grey eyes focused as he adjusted the electrodes on Emily's lower back. At 40, his calm demeanor had become a lifeline for her. Grace Mitchell, her fiercely loyal friend and nurse, hovered nearby, her warm brown eyes brimming with anticipation. The room was quiet, the air thick with expectation. All right, Emily, Michael said, his voice steady. We're going to try standing today. The harness will support you, and we'll use the bars. No pressure, just see what your legs can do. Emily's heart raced, her hands gripping the parallel bars. What if I fall? She asked, her voice trembling. Michael met her gaze, his tone gentle but firm. You won't fall. We've got you. And even if you stumble, it's part of the process. You're ready for this. Grace stepped closer, her smile wide. Come on, Em. You've been fighting for this. Show those legs who's boss. Emily took a deep breath, her eyes fixed on the bars. With Michael and Grace's help, she shifted from her wheelchair to the harness, her body trembling with effort. Her legs, limp for so long, felt foreign beneath her. Michael activated the machine, and the familiar tingling surged through her nerves, stronger than ever. Now, try to push up, he said. Use the bars, and let your legs follow. Emily gripped the bars, her arms shaking as she pulled herself up. Her right leg twitched, then her left. Slowly, impossibly, she felt her feet press against the floor. Her knees wobbled, but she stood shaky, unsteady, but standing. Tears streamed down her face, a sob escaping her lips. I'm standing, she whispered, her voice breaking. Grace clapped, tears in her own eyes. Yes, you are. Look at you, Em. You're doing it. Michael's smile was wide, his voice soft. That's it, Emily. Take your time. You've got this. For a few seconds, Emily took a step, small, faltering, but a step. Her legs buckled, and she sank back into the harness, but the room erupted in cheers from other patients and therapists watching. Grace hugged her tight, laughing through her tears. You did it, Em. Your first step. I'm so proud. Emily wiped her face, her heart soaring. I didn't think I could, but I did. I really did. Michael knelt beside her, his eyes warm. This is just the start, Emily. You're rewriting your story. The milestone felt like a rebirth. Emily's tears were not just for her body's triumph but for the woman she was becoming, stronger, braver, and unbroken. That night, in her Mombasa hotel room, she wrote a blog post titled One Step Forward, pouring out her joy and vulnerability. The post, shared by her growing from the ground up audience, went viral, with thousands of comments. You're an inspiration, and crying happy tears for you. Inspired by her progress, Emily organized a disability rights event in Mombasa, a beachside gathering to advocate for accessibility and inclusion. With Grace and Sarah Thompson, her Maasai mentee, by her side, she planned workshops, speeches, and a wheelchair-friendly walk along the shore. Sarah, now 26, had grown more confident, her dream of teaching closer with Emily's encouragement. The event drew hundreds, disabled Kenyans, activists, and local leaders. Emily spoke at the opening, her voice steady despite her nerves. 2 years ago, I thought my life was over, she said, standing with crutches for the first time in public. But today, I'm here, taking steps, literally and figuratively. We all deserve a chance to rise, no matter what holds us back. The crowd cheered, and Sarah, beside her, whispered, You're amazing, Emily. I want to be like you. Emily squeezed her hand, her heart full. You already are, Sarah. Local TV crews filmed the event, and a clip of Emily's speech aired on national news, her crutches and radiant smile capturing hearts. The story spread online, trending with hashtags like #RiseUp and #DisabilityPride. In Nairobi, James Harper, now 31, sat in a dimly lit bar, his architect career faltering. The TV flickered, and Emily's face filled the screen, confident, standing, a far cry from the broken woman he'd left. His beer paused at his lips, regret twisting his gut. Emily, he muttered, his voice heavy. What have I done? James's regret simmered, a spark that would soon ignite his desperate return. For Emily, the event was a triumph, a public declaration of her strength. As she stood on the Mombasa shore, the waves lapping at her feet, she felt unstoppable, unaware of the storm her past was about to bring. The Nairobi Conference Center buzzed with elegance, its chandeliers casting a golden glow over tables draped in white linen. The annual Conservation Gala, a glittering event for Kenya's wildlife advocates, drew a crowd of conservationists, donors, and media. Emily, now a rising star in both disability and conservation circles, was the keynote speaker, her blog from the ground up having elevated her voice globally. At 29, she stood tall with crutches, her green eyes bright with confidence, her navy dress accentuating her strength. Her curly hair was styled elegantly, a far cry from the despair of her dark days. Inside, Emily's nerves fluttered, but Sarah and Grace flanked her, their presence grounding. Sarah, in a vibrant Maasai shuka, beamed with pride. You're gonna rock this, Emily, she said, adjusting her beaded necklace. Everyone's here for you. Grace, in a sleek green dress, nodded. She's right, Em. You've earned this. Go show them what you're made of. Emily smiled, her voice soft. Thanks, you too. I couldn't do this without you. The gala's host introduced her, and the crowd hushed as Emily stepped to the podium, her crutches clicking softly. Good evening, she began, her voice clear. 2 years ago, a Jeep accident took my ability to walk. I thought it took my purpose, too. But here I am, standing because of therapy, support, and a fire I didn't know I had. Tonight, I'm here to talk about conservation, but also about rising up, no matter what life throws at you. The audience leaned in, captivated by her story of photographing elephants with Sarah and advocating for disability rights. She spoke of Kenya's wildlife, tying her personal fight to the broader battle for preservation. Applause rippled through the room, cameras flashing. But as Emily reached the climax of her speech, a figure pushed through the crowd. James Harper, disheveled in a wrinkled suit, his blue eyes wild with desperation, stepped into the light. Whispers spread, and Emily's breath caught, her hands tightening on her crutches. The room stilled, sensing drama. Emily, James called, his voice raw. "Please, I need to talk to you." The crowd gasped, and Emily's heart pounded. She stood frozen, memories of his betrayal flooding back. Grace stepped forward, her eyes blazing. "You've got some nerve, showing up here," she hissed. Emily raised a hand, silencing Grace. Her voice was steady, though her insides shook. "James, this isn't the time. I'm speaking." He moved closer, his hands outstretched. "I'm sorry, Em. I was wrong to leave you. I was scared, stupid. But look at you, you're incredible. I want you back. Please, give me a chance." The audience murmured, some recording on their phones. Emily's jaw tightened, her strength rising like a tide. "You left me when I needed you most," she said, her voice cutting through the room. "You didn't believe in me. I've built this life without you, and I don't need you now. You don't get to walk back in because I'm standing." James's face crumpled, his voice pleading. "I know I messed up. I've lost everything, my job, my way. You're all I've got left." Emily shook her head, her eyes fierce. "That's not my problem, James. I'm not your salvation. I'm mine." The crowd erupted in applause, some shouting, "Yes, girl." Sarah grabbed Emily's hand, her grin fierce, and Grace glared at James, daring him to try again. Security escorted him out, his head bowed. Emily exhaled, her body trembling, but she finished her speech, her voice stronger than ever. The gala ended in a standing ovation, her words echoing in the hearts of those present. Backstage, Emily sank into a chair, her crutches leaning against the wall. The confrontation had shaken her, stirring old wounds. Sarah sat beside her, her voice soft. "You were so strong out there, Emily. He doesn't deserve you." Emily managed a weak smile, tears in her eyes. "It hurt, seeing him. But I meant what I said. I'm done with him." Grace knelt in front of her, her hands on Emily's knees. "You owned that moment, Em. You showed him and everyone who you are. We've got your back, always." Emily nodded, her heart steadying. The gala's drama spread online, clips of her shutting down James trending with hashtags like #StandTall and #NoSecondChances. Social media buzzed with debates on forgiveness versus self-respect, her story resonating worldwide. Though shaken, Emily felt a quiet power, her strength forged in the fire of her past, ready to face whatever came next. Emily Carter's Nairobi apartment was a sanctuary of warmth, its walls adorned with her wildlife photographs: elephants at dusk, a soaring eagle, a cheetah in mid-stride. The Maasai blankets on the couch added splashes of red and blue, and sunlight streamed through open curtains, a stark contrast to the dark days when she'd shut the world out. At 29, Emily stood with crutches, her green eyes reflective but strong, her curly brown hair neatly braided. A year and a half after the accident that left her paralyzed, she'd fought her way to standing, to speaking at galas, to building a global following through her blog, *from the ground up star. But James Harper's sudden reappearance at the Conservation Gala had shaken her, stirring memories of love and betrayal. It was a quiet Saturday morning when the buzzer rang. Emily, sipping tea at her kitchen table, froze. Grace Mitchell, her fierce friend and nurse, was out shopping, leaving Emily alone. She wheeled to the intercom, her heart sinking as James's voice crackled through. "Em, it's me. Please, just 5 minutes. I need to explain." Emily's jaw tightened, her fingers hovering over the button. Part of her wanted to ignore him, but another part, the part still haunted by his note, "I can't handle this *" needed closure. "Fine," she said, her voice clipped. "Come up." James entered, his once charming face gaunt, his blue eyes shadowed. At 31, he looked like a man who'd lost his way, his suit rumpled, his dark hair unkempt. He stood awkwardly in the living room, hands in his pockets. "Thanks for letting me in," he said, his voice low. I messed up at the gala. I didn't mean to ambush you." Emily leaned on her crutches, her gaze steady. "Then why did you, James? You had no right to barge into my moment." He ran a hand through his hair, his voice cracking. "I saw you on TV in Mombasa, standing, speaking. You're incredible. I realized what I threw away. I lost my job, Em. My firm went under, and I've got nothing. Seeing you, I thought, maybe you're my way back. Emily's heart twisted, anger and pity clashing. Your way back. You think I'm some lifeline for you? You left me, James. When I was broken, you walked away. His eyes glistened, his voice pleading. I was scared, okay? I didn't know how to handle it, your accident, the hospital. I was weak, and I hate myself for it. But I love you, Em. I always have. Can't we try again? Emily's chest tightened, memories flooding back, sunset drives in the Mara, his laughter, their dreams of a future. But those memories were tainted by his absence when she needed him most. She shook her head, her voice firm. Love doesn't abandon, James. I needed you, and you chose yourself. I've built this life without you. I don't need you now. James stepped closer, desperation in his eyes. I'll change, Em. I'll do whatever it takes. Just give me a chance. Emily held up a hand, stopping him. I need time to think. Please, go. He hesitated, then nodded, his shoulders slumping as he left. Emily sank onto the couch, her crutches clattering to the floor. Tears welled up, not for James, but for the woman she'd been vulnerable, trusting, and shattered by his betrayal. That afternoon, Emily visited Dr. Michael Bennett at his Nairobi clinic, seeking clarity. Michael, now 41, welcomed her with his usual calm, his grey eyes kind as he offered her a seat. You look troubled, Emily, he said, leaning forward. What's going on? Emily sighed, her voice soft. James came back. He's a mess, lost his job, says he loves me. Part of me feels sorry for him, but I'm angry, too. I don't know what to do. Michael nodded, his tone thoughtful. You've grown so much, Emily. You're not the same person he left. What does your heart say? Not the old Emily, but the one standing here now. She paused, her fingers tracing the armrest. I think I've outgrown him. He wants me to save him, but I've spent all this time saving myself. I don't owe him anything. Michael smiled, his voice warm. That's your strength talking. You've built a life that's yours. Trust that. Later, Emily met David Powell, her conservationist mentor, at a Nairobi cafe. At 45, David's rugged face was lined with wisdom, his eyes sharp as he sipped coffee. Heard about the gala drama, he said, his voice gruff. That guy's got some nerve. Emily managed a small laugh. Yeah. He showed up at my place today, begging for another chance. Says he's got nothing left. David's brow furrowed. And what do you want, Emily? Not what he wants, what you need. She looked out the window, the city's bustle a reminder of her new life. I want to keep going, my blog, my advocacy, my work with Sarah. James, here's my past. I don't think he fits in my future. David nodded, his voice firm. Then let him go. You're doing big things, Emily. Don't let him drag you back. That night, alone in her apartment, Emily sat with her thoughts. She flipped through old photos, her and James laughing, her in the Mara before the accident. But those moments felt like another life. She'd fought for every step, every word on her blog, every smile with Sarah. James hadn't been part of that fight. She closed the album, her heart settling. She'd outgrown him, and that realization, though painful, was freeing. The Masai Mara stretched endlessly under a golden sky, its plains alive with the rustle of grass and the distant trumpets of elephants. The conservation camp, a cluster of tents and wooden shelters, buzzed with energy as Emily Carter led a youth camp for disabled teens. At 29, she stood confidently with crutches, her green eyes alight with purpose, her navy shirt practical yet vibrant against the Mara's backdrop. Her blog, *from the ground up*, had inspired millions, and her foundation for disability rights and conservation was gaining global support. Beside her was Sarah Thompson, now 26, a rising star in her own right, her Maasai beads glinting as she guided a group of teens in a photography workshop. The camp was Emily's vision, a place where young people with disabilities could learn skills, explore nature, and dream big. Sarah, studying to become a teacher, co-led with her, her prosthetic leg no barrier to her infectious enthusiasm. The teens, aged 13 to 18, laughed as they snapped photos of zebras or painted Maasai-inspired art, their wheelchairs and crutches blending seamlessly into the camp's rhythm. On the second day, as Emily taught a group to frame wildlife shots, a familiar figure appeared at the camp's edge. James Harper, gaunt and weary, stood hesitantly, his blue eyes fixed on her. Emily's heart skipped, but she squared her shoulders, handing her camera to a teen. "Sarah, take over for a minute," she said, her voice steady. Sarah glanced at James, her eyes narrowing, but nodded. "Got it, Emily. You okay?" Emily gave her a reassuring smile. "I'm good. This won't take long." She approached James, her crutches sinking slightly into the soft earth. The Mara's vastness felt like a shield, grounding her. "What are you doing here, James?" she asked, her tone calm but firm. James shuffled, his voice low. "I heard about the camp. I needed to see you again, Em. I can't stop thinking about you. I know I hurt you, but I'm trying to be better. Can't we start over?" Emily studied him, seeing the man she'd once loved but no longer needed. The Mara's wild beauty, the teen's laughter, Sarah's strength, all of it reminded her of the life she'd built. "James," she said, her voice clear, "I don't hate you. I feel sorry for you, even. But I've chosen myself. This, my work, my people, my fight, that's my life now. You don't belong in it." James's face fell, his voice trembling. "You really mean that?" She nodded, her eyes unwavering. "I do. Go find your own path, James. I've found mine." He stood there, silent, then turned and walked away, his figure shrinking against the Mara's horizon. Emily exhaled, a weight lifting from her chest. She returned to the camp, where Sarah waited, her grin fierce. "You told him off, didn't you?" Sarah asked, her voice proud. Emily laughed, her heart light. "Something like that. Come on, let's get back to work." The camp was a triumph, its success rippling online. Emily posted photos and stories on her blog, showcasing the teens' art and Sarah's leadership. Titled "Rising in the Mara," the post exploded, shared by global conservation groups and disability advocates. Comments flooded in. "This is what hope looks like, and Emily and Sarah are changing the world." The hashtag #MaraRising trended, and media outlets from BBC to Al Jazeera covered the camp, praising Emily's foundation. On the final night, Emily stood by a campfire, the teens singing Maasai songs under a starlit sky. Sarah joined her, her voice soft. "You did this, Emily. You gave these kids a chance to dream. I'm so proud to know you." Emily's eyes glistened, her voice warm. "We did this, Sarah. You're a star, you know that? You're gonna change lives." Sarah hugged her, her laughter bright. "Only because you showed me how." As the fire crackled, Emily looked out at the Mara, its vastness a mirror of her journey. Rejecting James had been her final stand, a choice to embrace her own strength. Her foundation grew, funding scholarships for disabled youth and conservation projects across Kenya. Millions followed her story, inspired by her resilience and vision. Emily Carter, once broken, now stood as a beacon, her legacy unfolding under the African sky. The Nairobi skyline glowed under a fiery sunset, the city's skyscrapers silhouetted against a canvas of orange, pink, and gold. On a rooftop terrace, fairy lights twinkled, casting a warm glow over a small gathering. Tables were adorned with vibrant Maasai tablecloths, and the air carried the scent of grilled nyama koma and fresh mango juice. Emily Carter, now 30, stood at the edge of the terrace, her crutches replaced by a single cane, her green eyes reflecting the fading light. Her curly brown hair flowed loosely, and her teal dress swayed in the gentle breeze. 2 years after the accident that stole her ability to walk, she moved with quiet confidence, each step a testament to her resilience. The rooftop celebrated the global impact of Emily's foundation, *Rise Up Africa*, which blended disability advocacy with wildlife conservation. From funding scholarships for disabled youth to protecting Kenya's elephants, the foundation had inspired millions, its story spreading through Emily's blog, *from the ground up star. Tonight, surrounded by her closest allies, Grace Mitchell, Sarah Thompson, Dr. Michael Bennett, and David Powell, Emily felt a profound gratitude, her heart full as she reflected on her journey from despair to triumph. Grace, now 36, approached with a glass of juice, her warm brown eyes sparkling. Her green dress hugged her curves, and her laughter filled the air. This party's amazing, she said, nudging her friend. Look at this view, this crowd, you did this. I'm so proud. Emily smiled, her voice soft. Couldn't have done it without you, Grace. You were there when I was falling apart. You pushed me to keep going. Grace waved a hand, her tone playful. Oh, please. You were always a fighter. I just gave you a nudge. Now, come on, mingle. Everyone's dying to talk to the star. Nearby, Sarah Thompson, 26, chatted with a group of foundation volunteers. Her Maasai beads gleamed against her red shuka, and her confidence shone brighter than ever. Studying to become a teacher, Sarah had become a co-leader in Emily's work, her story inspiring countless others. She caught Emily's eye and hurried over, her prosthetic leg moving with ease. Emily, the kids from the Mara camp sent a video, she said, her voice excited. They're thanking you for the scholarships. Wanna see? Emily's heart swelled, her eyes misting. Show me later, Sarah. I'll probably cry, and I'm trying to keep it together tonight. She paused, her voice warm. You know, you're the real star. You've grown so much. I'm so proud of you. Sarah blushed, her grin wide. Only because you showed me I could. You're my hero, Emily. The words hit Emily deeply, a reminder of how far they'd come together. She hugged Sarah, the sunset framing their embrace, a moment of pure connection. Dr. Michael Bennett, now 41, joined them, his grey eyes kind as ever. His white shirt was casual, a nod to the relaxed evening. Emily, this foundation is changing lives, he said, his voice steady. I've got patients asking about your therapy program. You're giving them hope. Emily leaned on her cane, her smile grateful. That's all because of you, Michael. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Those first steps. I'll never forget them. Michael shook his head, his tone humble. You did the work, Emily. I just gave you the tools. Keep shining, you're doing more than you know. David Powell, the 45-year-old conservationist, approached, his rugged face softened by a rare smile. His khaki shirt was practical, fitting the man who lived for the wild. Emily, we just got word, he said, his voice gruff. The elephant sanctuary you funded? It's saving dozens of calves already. Your photos made that happen. Emily's eyes widened, her voice awed. Really? That's incredible. David, you've taught me so much about fighting for what matters. Thank you. David shrugged, his eyes twinkling. You're the one out here changing the world, kid. I'm just along for the ride. As the group laughed, Emily stepped to the terrace's edge, the city sprawling below. The sunset painted the sky in hues that echoed the Masai Mara, where her journey had begun and where she'd found her strength. She thought of the accident, James's betrayal, the dark days when hope felt impossible. She remembered her first tingling steps in Mombasa, the viral blog posts, the youth camp with Sarah, and her final rejection of James. Each moment had shaped her, forging a woman who stood tall, not just physically but in spirit. Grace joined her, her voice soft. What's on your mind, Em? You look like you're a million miles away. Emily turned, her eyes glistening. Just thinking about everything. The accident, losing James, finding all of you. I was so broken, Grace. But now, I feel whole. Like I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Grace squeezed her hand, her voice thick. You are, Em. You've built something beautiful. And it's just the start. Sarah, Michael, and David gathered around, their faces lit by the fading light. Emily raised her glass, her voice clear. To all of you, she said, her heart full. You carried me through the worst, and now we're here, changing the world together. Here's to *Rise Up Africa* and to whatever comes next. They clinked glasses, their laughter mingling with the city's hum. Emily shared a new dream, a project to expand her foundation across Africa, building therapy centers and conservation hubs in Uganda, Tanzania, and beyond. It's big, she admitted, her voice excited. But I think we can do it. What do you say? Sarah grinned, her eyes fierce. I'm in. Let's make it happen. Michael nodded, his smile warm. Count me in, Emily. You've got my support. David raised his glass, his voice gruff. Let's take on Africa, kid. I'm ready. As the stars emerged, Emily stood with her chosen family, the Nairobi skyline a promise of new horizons. Her blog post about the night, titled The Horizon Ahead, would go viral, its stunning rooftop visuals and message of resilience trending with hashtags like #RiseUpAfrica and #NewBeginnings. Comments would pour in, Emily, you're unstoppable and this is what hope looks like. The tease of her next adventure would spark global curiosity, her story a beacon for millions. Emily took a final step forward, her cane steady, her heart soaring. The woman who'd once lost everything now held the world in her hands, ready for whatever lay beyond the sunset. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to get more interesting stories like this.